video, we dealt with why purchase order funding exists, because we've explained what a purchase order is, and primarily that's the work that the People's Fund does. It facilitates entrepreneurs who are already on the up and up. Now, we thought it was important to discuss the different types of funding, because we get a lot of requests for different funding which we don't offer, right? And there's also a philosophical discussion about whether those businesses should be funded, which I'll touch on now. So, one, we've discussed PO funding, right? PO funding falls under the capital or under the category of working capital. This can be thought of in some regards as short-term financing. And it's built, working capital is usually built on either a going concern that's already got orders and things happening, and it needs money to bridge its cash flow deficit. That's primarily what all of this falls under, right? So this is the main category, working capital. Then there's a class of funding, let's call it venture capital. Right? Venture capital is primarily focused on businesses that have a high growth potential. So, and usually you have a unique selling proposition that nobody else can replicate, right? So this is, you've invented a material that can charge, a phone cover that can charge phones using body heat, right? That would be a venture capital type business. And usually what venture capitalists looks here is they want to see protection of IP and proof of market. Proof of market is basically that people, so these could be letters of demand or letters of intent, right? Not letters of demand, sorry. Letters of intent or MOUs where you've developed, you've protected your IP. This means you've went to the patent office and you've invented something and you've protected it, which means that nobody else can do this besides you for the next 20 years, right? Unless if you allow somebody to license it. And once you've done that, because you have not developed the product, you've only conceptualized it, you've went and gotten letters of intent from market players, right? People who would actually buy your product. So if it's the product I was describing, you'd go to, I'm making a loose example, a game or a macro, and they'd say, we'd love to have your product as part of our catalog. If you can manufacture 50,000 per month, we'll buy them, right? Letter of intent. Letter of intent is actually very similar to a purchase order, but it's far less binding, for lack of a better way of putting it. You can rescind on a letter of demand much more easily than a purchase order, right? So you can letter of intent to say, I'd buy 50,000 as long as it's at this quality, etc., for the next 12 months, provided they deliver within X, Y, and Z period, right? Now, what is the commonality between these two types of funding? Is that you've proven a market. You've proven that a customer wants to buy your goods, right? You've proven that there's somebody who wants to buy your goods. Now, this is very important to always remember in entrepreneurship. We are here to solve problems. Until somebody wants to buy your product, it is not a business, it's an idea. If somebody does not want to buy your product, it's an idea, right? And this is the large majority where funding requests fall into, ideas. And these usually function on grant funding. So, somebody wants to start a business, but they don't have the capital to start the business. Now, this is my philosophy, it's not the whole world's philosophy. I say this loosely. You don't need money to start a business. You need customers. You don't need money. You need customers. You need people to say, I want to buy into your business. So, most people are looking for grant funding to your IDC, your well, IDC far less. No, it's not grant funding, even though they do grant funding concessions. NYDA, GEP, what am I forgetting? But it's government institutions, or more commonly known as DFIs, development finance institutions, right? They would fall into these category of ideas. And what often they want to see as well is a proof of concept. So most people who go to these institutions and say they don't fund us is because you went there with an idea, with no skin in the game, no idea how you're going to execute. There's no proof of market and no proof of anything, and you say, give me money. I often say, before you ask anyone for anything, reverse the request and see how you'd react if that person asked you that thing. If somebody came to you and asked you for money and they've not proven anything, would you give them money, right? That's the simple question. So, this is where a majority of the requests we get come from. And I implore the market to do one of many things, but these are the three I'll point out, right? If you are in this category right now, 1, go get customers. I wanted to make the capital so big. Go get customers. Don't stop looking for funding and go get customers. You don't deserve funding. It's not, you're not entitled to funding. It's not something that is supposed to automatically happen. You need to go get the customers so that you can get funded. Most funding in any industry or any economy happens on the working capital side, right? Almost, I need to check the stats, but I would argue over 95% of the funding that happens is working capital for somebody who's got customers and needs to deliver on that promise, right? 2, if your concept is innovative, get it protected. Now, CIPC actually allows for this process for very affordable. I think it's something like $500, where you can protect IP of various nature if it's protectable. Now, you know, any system, biggest pockets wins, right? This would probably need an attorney to consult with to protect it properly. But if you protect it in your own right with your own money, and you go to a VC who's worth their salt, right? VC's worth their salt. Good examples would be, although they're more private equity, but they're worth their salt, is IDF in South Africa, Knife Capital. These are the big names in the VC space, top of head, top of mind, or rather private equity venture capital space. If they see that you even attempted to protect your IP, they are seeing this is somebody who's not waiting for grant funding, but is going out and getting things done. And if you also have customers, willing customers who have letters of intent and those sort of things, it strengthens your case. Number 3, final suggestion is, if your business needs money, go get a customer that will give you a purchase order. Now we'll go into detail about our biggest favorite purchase order we get, which has opened up opportunities for the majority of South Africans, is government. We'll discuss that in, go get a PO, go tender, as we used to say. Go tender. We funded 250 businesses in the past year, that's 2019, and more than 95% of them had purchase orders with government. And they have great payment cycles, contrary to popular belief, much better than corporates actually. And they are there to facilitate this process. Nothing will teach you quicker how business works than that. This is the fastest way to learn how business works and learn the whole process of invoicing and the whole process of getting paid, following up payments and that sort of thing, is this. So without the customers already telling you what they're looking for, and then you're simply delivering on the customer's needs. All right. I've only wanted to do this and pretend to be fake humble and say thank you guys for watching our videos. Really appreciate it. Get those views up. This is what YouTube influencers do. So click on subscribe. There is no subscribe button, I'm just joking. But on a serious note, thanks for your time, guys. I hope this has been helpful. And if you want any information that was not in this video, please look at our other video so that you can have a clearer and deeper understanding of how all of this works. It's very lucrative for all of us.